Hey class, it's really late, or I guess it could be called really early in your day if you're watching this on Monday. And I've had quite a few internet issues tonight where my computer would not talk to my modem, and so it's taken me a long time to get these assignments ready. But I want to have them ready for you on Monday. So I'm making this quick video. I need to walk you through how to get started with your music timeline. And so please watch this to the end. I promise I won't keep you longer than I need to. So we will start week 4. We will talk about the Renaissance period this week. You should have completed information and your discussion board and all of that for week 3 already. And so I'm working on trying to get those error messages off of the gradebook for 2 of your assignments for week 2. I've resynced the grades, but they're still showing up as an error. So I'm not quite sure what's going on there, but I will manually get them changed. Okay, so let's get into week 4. You will have your normal assignments. Listening, learn smart, reading, and then you will have your Unit 2 test, which will cover the Middle Ages and Renaissance. Make sure that you've done all of your listening and everything for your prepping before you take your test. Remember, you only get one chance at your test, and it is timed. Do not save anything on your test and go back to try to finish it later. You can't start and save, and the time will run out. And so just make sure that you're aware of that. All right, and then I asked you to do this in week 1, but I put the information down here again. There's a Google Classroom registration. When you open into a new slide, here is our Google Classroom. This will be used for 3 assignments. Your 3 assignments will be your preliminary music timeline, your final music timeline, and your concert credit report. Okay, that's where you will find, this is where you will file those things. Under classwork, you'll see already that you've got a preliminary music timeline that's going to be due October 11th. I've decided to give you 1 more week to do this, and because I moved and I didn't get a chance to explain it last week, and so you'll have a whole week. We will be finished with the Baroque period by October 11th, and so your preliminary timeline should include Middle Ages, Renaissance, and Baroque. So that's half of your project, because the timeline only has 6 sections. And so I'm going to show you how to get started with that, but this is where you will find that, and I will take your work from here and put it into Moodle Gradebook. Okay, so to get started in your music timeline, you first need to read this guide. I would download it and I would print it, because you need to be able to have it on hand. There's a lot of information here that you must follow to the letter and to the number. Okay, and so maybe I highlight a couple of really important parts of this. Second page is going to give you a rundown slide by slide. The 4 slides for Middle Ages and what they include. Do it in this order, and I'll show you an example in a moment. Renaissance period will have 5 slides. You'll see what it's supposed to say on this guide. And then the last part that you will have in your preliminary timeline will be the 11 slides in the Baroque period. Okay? Do not go on to classical, romantic, or 20th century. This grade is only on Middle Ages, Renaissance, and Baroque. Okay? Page 1 gives you lots of information. So I need you to read that. I'll just highlight a few. Each period must have a title page and the exact dates from our book. Okay? Don't put any other dates than from our book. Okay? This project is an extension of what you're learning in this class. And so I want it to be a creative project in that you take what we're learning and you and you format it in a way that helps me to see that you are comprehending the material. And so an overview with complete sentences, not plagiarized information. In the past, I've caught plagiarism on this project, and it was not a good outcome for my students. I've had several in the spring semester and since then, and so just make the work your work. The other thing that's really important is number 5. You have to show videos of each song that you include, which you have to include songs. I need those to show up in windows within the slide. They must have a little arrow on them that if I push on that little arrow, it keeps me in the slide and I'm able to view the video within the slide. Do not include just a URL link. Do not take me outside of your slide. It all needs to be inside of your slide. Okay? This is really important. All right, and please read the rest of this information. It must be completed in Google Slide format. And you have to cite your references. So if you use something besides the textbook, if you just use the textbook, you still have to cite it. All right, preliminary timelines must be turned in on time, and then the changes that you make afterward are given from the feedback I give you. So it is only worth a homework grade. The preliminary timeline, number 12, is the first section of your final project. You will create one slide presentation and then continue by adding information each week until the final due date. All slides must be creative, well organized, and interesting. All information you need is found in your textbook. Stick to the basic information and the most prominent composers and their works for each section. Okay. And make sure you add artistic interest, pictures of things. Okay. So I'm going to shut that for now. Print those 2 pages because you need them. All right. And then the next thing that's on here is your rubric. Okay. Your rubric is really important, and so here it is. Shows you how many points you get for each section. All right, if you want to get full credit, then you need to pay attention to this first column. If you only want to get 4 points per section, pay attention to the last column. Notice at the bottom here, it says that everything should be cited, and failure to do so will result in a 10-point deduction. Okay, so read all of that. Okay, it's on there. I showed you your registration for Google Classroom. Now, I want to go on and show you what I created for my summer school class as an example of what a timeline should include. I created this on Google Slides. Let me just show you where you find that really quick. If you go to your Google, new tab, come on, and go to your apps, and it should be yellow right here. So it's going to open up. You're going to start a blank slide. Okay. So I'm going to show you this one that I already made. The link is shared on your resources page. So put on it, your first slide, put these things. Okay. This was made for my summer term. So change the color, change the arts, change the format, everything. Change it. You make it yours. I don't want to see duplication of what I'm giving you. Okay, then you're going to say middle ages and the dates. Choose a color. Make it cohesive. Make it creative. Choose a picture to show me what age you're talking about. Okay. Next slide. It should be an overview. And this is 3 sentences about the major events. They could be historical. They need to be comprehensive. because of this was happening in music. Like the church was the most important thing, and so therefore it was all about, this or that. So you need to make it mean something. Don't just take stuff out of a book and plop it in there. I will check for plagiarism. Pictures are optional, but it helps give creative interest, and it will add to your creative grade. Okay? And then a vocabulary page. Read this here. And then it goes on down. Your guide is going to tell you all this information. Okay? And so use this as something, I'm laying it all out for you. This should not be a hard thing, but it is something you're going to have to make sure that you complete and that you turn in on time. Okay? So then the Renaissance section is similar to Middle Ages. Baroque is a little bit more involved because we're to a more involved time period. Put pictures, put your dates, an overview, your vocabulary, important composers. This first one is Bach. You have 3 slides. You must include all of his information. This includes birth and death dates. Do not include something. Do not put his information in there and don't include his dates. It doesn't make any sense. Include where he's from. Include what he did. Include something about his upbringing. Just little snippets. It can be bullet points. It does not need to be a big, hairy paragraph. A big, hairy paragraph is going to put up red flags for me that you have lifted information from some book, and I will check you for plagiarism. Okay? Box slide number 2. Put a picture on here. Add some interest to it. Okay? You do with it what you want to, but make sure that it's clean, organized, and it follows my directions. Then you have your handle slides. There's 3 of those, and you have your 2 Vivaldi slides. And after that, you're going to cite your sources. And then this is all I've included. Your final timeline is going to include the rest of the information. That would be after we study Baroque, we'll go on to study the classical period, the Romantic period, the 20th century. That will be the 6 sections for your final timeline. After viewing your preliminary timeline, I will give you feedback. You must make changes to your preliminary timeline if there's something I see that you're not doing correctly. The purpose of the preliminary timeline is for me to catch major mistakes so that it doesn't come back to bite you in the final. Okay? If you do not submit a preliminary timeline to me, then I cannot help you in the final. I hope that makes sense to you. That's why we're doing this. And so, please contact me if you have questions or concerns. All right, there's also the PowerPoint presentation that I put in there for last week. Kind of summarizes everything in this chapter. So I hope that this is clear and that you're able to get started. This will be due. I'm changing it to October 11th. Your syllabus says the week earlier, and so I'm giving you 1 extra week, and we'll wait until we get done with Baroque. So I hope this makes sense. So I'm going to finish this video now. Hang in there. Do a good job. One more thing about your timeline. You're in college, and I expect college level work. I expect you to do your work, and I expect it to be done on time. In addition, you have all of these things on Connect. And so this course is not meant to, some of it is meant for you to just breeze through pretty quickly. But it is not meant for you to sometimes do the work and sometimes not. Your grade will reflect your lack of being consistent in this course. I have seen students lose a whole letter grade because they chose not to turn in 1 assignment, or they bombed 1 test. So be diligent, do your work, and contact me about any late work that you need to turn in. Remember, I do not take late work unless you have been given permission. And this goes for Learn Smart no matter what. Hope this helps. Have a good week.